Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of France. Welcome to the Golden Crown. Tonight, we will be discussing the beloved Bastille and how a mucky mob destroyed it. And more royal news. The peasants of Paris have begun demonstrating against our decent king and his tremendous government. Murat, a leader of the rebellion, quotes, "The great are only great because we are on our knees. Let us rise." This phrase explains their actions. The scummy demonstrators looted Invalids' prison for weapons and arms. The rebels managed to get 32,000 rifles, but were without ammo. There were rumours that the beautiful Bastille prison had ammo, so the mob headed for the fort. The Bastille prison was a famous symbol of royal power and brutality, therefore raiding it would have a double effect. When the mob reached the prison, they realised how formidable the task would be. The walls were 10 foot thick and the towers were 90 foot tall. The Bastille was also guarded by many cannons and brave soldiers. A rumour circulated that a cannon was positioned to fire at the many protesters. They were enraged. The foul leaders of the mob put together a letter in which they demanded ammo from the honourable prison governor. The governor didn't agree to anything, but respectfully invited the leaders in for lunch to discuss things. The demonstrators stood outside, nervously awaiting the outcome. Several hours later, there was no sign of the meeting ending, and the vile crowd got impatient. The prospect of their outrageous leaders emerging became more and more unlikely. The rowdy crowd was getting angry. At last, the leaders emerged from the fort with news of the denial. When the crowd found out, they were even angrier than before. They chanted, "We want Bastille." Unfortunately, there was still the problem of getting inside. But just as all hope was lost, a juvenile group of youths from the mob found a way inside from their position on top of the shop roof. One of the hateful youths scaled the wall and got into Bastille's gorgeous courtyard. The dirty youth reached the drawbridge and opened it for his fellow demonstrators. Unfortunately, in the process, he evilly killed a demonstrator called Le Hefty. The mob proceeded into the courtyard, although many were shot down on the way by the outstanding soldiers. The fighting between the courageous Bastille staff and the protesters continued into the evening. Eventually, the mob took control of the cannon and blew down a few walls and gates at a spectacular fort. Soldiers and guards urged the freaky governor to surrender, but the strong-willed governor wasn't having any of it. He threatened to blow up all the gunpowder, therefore destroying the fort, himself, and the protesters in the process. In the end, the sneaky guards persuaded him otherwise. The merciless peasants proceeded to hack the governor's head off and parade around the streets of Paris with his head on a pole. To these despicable villains, it was a symbol of victory. Agreeably, it was a merciless action after his surrender. The righteous king was not happy when he heard the news. Although only 7 prisoners escaped, this havoc quite rightly outraged him. "Is this a revolt?" King Louis asked his adviser. "No, sire, this is a revolution," his stupid adviser replied curtly. 2 days later, the National Assembly ordered it burnt to the ground. A revolting crowd gathered. It cheered and celebrated as the walls of the much-loved Bastille crumbled to nothing.